Let's be honest. Have you ever felt like you're just studying all wrong? Well, today we are going to completely transform your study habits. We're going to dive into how you can get way better results in just a fraction of the time, using techniques that are so efficient, they honestly feel like a cheat code. You know the feeling, right? You spend days, maybe even weeks, hunkered down, preparing for a huge exam. You're putting in all the hours, you're sacrificing your free time, and for what? You end up getting the exact same grade as that one friend who crammed everything in the night before. It is so frustrating. I mean, just look at this breakdown. The effort you're putting in, all those days of studying, the fun stuff you missed, it just doesn't seem to line up with the results. It's this exhausting cycle of hard work and disappointment, and it leaves you feeling like you're just spinning your wheels. But here is the absolute game changer. The problem isn't that you're not trying hard enough, and it is definitely not you. It's the old, inefficient method you've been using. So we're about to toss that outdated system and replace it with a much smarter framework that will help you get top grades in way less time. So how are we going to do it? Here's our roadmap. First, we're going to talk about preparing your mind and body. Then, we'll get into a totally strategic approach to studying. After that, we'll check out some modern tools. And finally, we'll cover the most important part, how to make sure all that new information actually sticks. Okay, let's start with the foundation, because honestly, what you do before you even crack open a textbook can make or break your study session. Peak performance starts with prepping your mind and your body. Do you ever find yourself reaching for sweets and sugary drinks when you're stressed about an exam? Yeah, we all do it. But you're actually working against yourself. I mean, studies from places like UCLA show that too much sugar literally slows your brain down, and research in the Journal of Physiology connects it to really poor focus. So instead, swap that sugar for some real brain fuel, things like nuts, fish, or berries. They'll boost your memory and keep you sharp. Now, what's really wild is just how powerful your mindset is. If you sit down thinking, ugh, this is going to be so boring and take forever, well, guess what? It will be. And this isn't just some motivational fluff, this is backed by science. There was a Harvard study that found employees who simply believed their physical work was good for them saw actual health benefits. The exact same principle applies here. Tell yourself you can conquer this challenge, that the system will work, and you'll be blown away by the results. All right, with our minds and bodies prepped, let's get into the core strategy. It's time to stop trying to learn everything and start focusing on what actually matters. This is all about studying smarter, not harder. And that brings us to the famous 80-20 rule. You might have heard of it as the Pareto principle. In pretty much any subject, about 20% of the topics are going to make up 80% of the answers on the exam. So seriously, what is the point of mastering 100% of the material if only a tiny fraction of it is going to determine your grade? The real key is figuring out what that critical 20% is. So how do we find that critical 20%? We're going to use a super simple 3-step strategy. First, we prioritize. Second, we work backward, which is a cool trick. And third, we target our weak spots. Let's break each of those down. Step 1 is all about hunting down that high-impact 20%. So instead of slogging through entire textbooks again, just go straight to the chapter summaries. Pay super close attention to the topics your professor talks about all the time. Those are huge hints. Look for patterns in old exams and always be asking yourself, if I could only review one thing from this chapter, what would be the most important thing to know? Okay, step 2 might sound a little backward, but trust me, it is incredibly effective. Study the answers first. Go straight to the end of chapter questions. Why? Because exams follow predictable patterns. By understanding the structure of the answers and how the points are given, you learn exactly how the examiner wants you to present what you know. This is the real secret sauce. And for our third step, you have got to stop reviewing what you already know. I know it feels good, it feels productive, but it doesn't actually improve your grade. The real progress, the big jumps in your score, happen when you tackle your weaknesses. You know, those topics you've been avoiding because they just seem hard. Face those challenges head on, because that's where the biggest rewards are waiting for you. So, now that we have our strategy locked down, let's look at some specific tools and tactics that can make you even more efficient and focused. Have you ever heard of something called Parkinson's Law? It's a really simple but powerful idea. Basically, work expands to fill whatever time you give it. So if you give yourself the entire day to study one chapter, it will, without a doubt, take you all day. We need to break that cycle. And the perfect tool to fight Parkinson's Law is a simple timer. It sounds almost too easy, right? But when you set a timer for, say, 30 or 60 minutes, your brain registers that countdown and it kicks into full focus mode. That little bit of urgency forces you to be efficient. So instead of thinking, I'll study all day, try telling yourself, I am going to master this chapter in 1 hour. Then just watch what happens. And of course, we can't talk about modern tools without bringing up AI. Tools like ChatGPT can basically act as your own personal study assistant. Just imagine being able to instantly create a practice test on a topic you're struggling with, or getting a complex idea explained in 5 different, simpler ways until it finally clicks. It's like having a dedicated tutor available 24/7, and it'll save you hours of frustration. Okay, we've covered preparation, we've covered strategy, and we've covered tools. But you know what? None of it matters if you can't remember the material when you sit down for the exam. This final section is all about locking in your learning for good. Here's a powerful idea that might seem a little counterintuitive at first. Your mistakes are your most valuable learning tool. The single best way to lock in new information and make sure you don't mess up on the actual test is to obsessively review what you got wrong. Gather up all your errors from practice questions and quizzes and make reviewing them your absolute top priority. And there you have it. We've gone from frustration and burnouts to a focused, efficient system. So the final question I have for you is this. Looking at everything we just covered, what is the one inefficient study habit you are going to break, starting this week? Making that one small change is the very first step to studying faster and smarter than you ever have before.